Well, coming at number two, you're talking about winning a playoff series, talking about going to a conference final, and I think back of a little fella named Joel Embiid is just sitting there crying after Kawhi hits this game-winning shot. So here at number two, at the top center in our rankings here, we have Joel Embiid.
Yeah, and it's funny that I messed up saying that he went to the conference finals almost twice, because if he did, I think it's a good discussion that he's maybe at number one. But again,
Oh, 100%, but he has not.
exactly, going back to our last point about Towns, he hasn't, and the guy ahead of him has, and he basically led the team there. As much as we don't want to spoil it, but again, going back to Embiid, obviously on the offensive end, this guy is just next level. The things he could do in the post, it's just unheard of. Obviously, he has a great IQ passing the ball, loves to learn from other players, whether it's greats or guys coming in, has a great ability to learn from different coaches, fit in different systems, is very grateful for the opportunity he's been given with how patient Philadelphia's been given to him. We were talking about it earlier where they could have given up on him. They brought in Jahlil Okafor, and guess what? They got rid of Jahlil Okafor after actually a very good year because they felt like Joel Embiid was just as good as he is. They believed in him, and they were right, thankfully. And Joel Embiid is grateful for that. He said that he owes them a championship. Hopefully he brings it to him. If he does before the guy at number one, he's going to find himself a number one on this list, 100%. But other than the fact that, like we said, he hasn't found a winning formula yet, that's the only knock I have on him at number two. He just needs to stay healthy, find a way to win. I can't say anything else about Joel Embiid. He's one of the best players in the league, let alone centers.
Staying healthy is the biggest thing for me.
Yeah.
He's got to prove that he has played okay the last couple of years. He still hasn't put up 65 games yet. That being said, he missed his first two, so any kind of playing time out of him is considered a bonus. The fact that he said he owes Philadelphia a title, that's interesting. I don't know if he's exactly LeBron in Cleveland at this point yet, but you're right. He does bring that that presence where he could be the top offensive center, but he's also an above average defensive center. I think that being with Howard this year is only going to improve his overall skill set. I think that Embiid's a fantastic player. We all did this for years. The only reason that he didn't, he isn't better than what he is because he missed those first 2 years. If he would have played those first 2 years, we'd be talking he'd probably likely be the top center in the league at this point. But being that he hasn't done that yet, the Sixers kind of fizzled out last year. He hasn't proven that yet. But with Doc Rivers this year, I really do believe that he's going to be able to step it up to a certain degree that we'll be talking, again, same thing with Towns, that not just a top center, but potentially a top player in this league. He's just that young still. He'll be 26 next year. If he can put up that 28 and 12 year again, Philly wins 50, 55 games between him and Simmons. I think he's the top center at that point.
Yeah, and I think the big thing for me for Joel Embiid is Philadelphia has to let him play his game. Even though he did have his best year last year, watching Joel Embiid last year bothered me a lot, where he did shoot a lot of bad threes because no one else on that team could really hit it. And it's not, sorry, last year, but 2 years ago when he shot 4 threes per game. That's the big thing, where he shot a lot of them. He only hit at 30%. And it's because he had to take them. There wasn't a lot of other guys who were taking threes. He got the ball there a lot, so he took them. And unfortunately, he's not a bad three-point shooter, but he's not the best. So, I mean, that's something where Philly needs to, again, really let him round out, really let him just work that mid-range, get in there like Anthony Davis kind of style and just work it in, get a lot of free throws, shoots at an 80% clip, which, again, for center.
He's a good shooter.
Exactly. He's a good shooter. Just like at the end of the day, it's hard to have range when you're that tall. If you guys can do it, that's why Town shooting at this efficiency is so amazing. But yeah, you just don't want Joel Embiid to have to take 4 or 5 threes a game. You want him to have to take 2 or 3 max and have him hit at a 35% ratio. And again, hopefully with Howard, that does take a lot of the wear and tear off him when he gets to avoid an injury. He gets a full year. He gets to, like I said, really just focus on playing that mid-range, getting to the free throw line, and just working his game there. We'll probably see Joel Embiid continue to improve his passing as well. And yeah, it'll really just be a fight between these 3 guys moving forward to who's going to get to number one long term. But I do think as we do these lists more frequently throughout the years, we're just going to see these top guys just interchanging because, again, they are so good. They do have a lot of similar skill set abilities. Like you said, Embiid, a bit better defender than Towns now as well, as Towns is a better shooter. That defensive ability plus his ability to at least win something gives Embiid the edge right now. But still, unfortunately for him, doesn't make him top center in the league.
No, and that's exactly it. He hasn't proven to take it to the next level yet. Really do believe that he thinks he's the top center of the league at this point. I think he believes that he's been the top center of the league for years now, which that confidence is key. I think that's probably what is lacking with Towns. I don't think he has that confidence that he is a top center, and Embiid believes he is. There's no reason why he can't be. If he brings his point per game back up to what he had the year before at 28 points per game, he raises that efficiency a little bit, and he still plays that defensive game, and Philly brings that, wins those couple playoff series, really goes for a run like we've been thinking they would for the last couple of years, then I think it's not a question that he's a top center league. But you're right, at these top three guys, they're all between the ages of 24 and 25. They'll all be between 25 and 26 next year. It's going to be incredible for the next 5-10 years. Even if you go past them, between Ayton and Bam at 22, like these guys are going to be 30, and those guys are going to be 27. It's going to be a fantastic next 5-10 years for the center position. I hope that some other guys like Wiseman can come up and really show these guys stuff. But until then, it's going to be really, really exciting.
Yeah, definitely. Even Wendell Carter Jr., another guy. But yeah, I guess we'll get to number one because they definitely have some things to say about who we have there.
Yeah, number